Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Chef Robert Irvine is my special guest today. We're going to talk a little bit about Restaurant Impossible. So you go and welcome back, Robert. You go to from the Navy. Now how do you get to TV land? How do you find yourself
It's
getting
funny because I came out
there
the
in
Navy.
that world? So
Came
different.
I came to the United States after the Navy. I worked on cruise ships for 4 years, which I loved. I made a lot of money, a lot of experience. I went to work with Donald Trump at Trump Taj Mahal, Atlantic City. I did that for 4 years. Went to Caesars, and whilst I was at Caesars, I wrote a TV show. You know it as Restaurant Impossible. Actually, it's not Restaurant Impossible. It was as Dinner Impossible,
Mm-hmm.
which was originally called Fit for a King, based on my royal family experience. The Food Network changed the pilot to Dinner Impossible, so it was like James Bond meets Mission Impossible. And in my car, I would get a mission with no knowledge, no food, a timeline to get stuff done. And that was a real show. 22-minute show started off as. We did the first six. It became such a popular hit. We ended up going from 22 minutes to 42 minutes or 44 minutes. And we did almost 300 episodes of that show, from ice hotels to cruise ships to with just given a mission to feed a certain amount of people in a certain amount of time with no equipment and nothing, which was my life in the military. So it was easy for me, not easy because I was then came Restaurant Impossible, which I wrote after Dinner Impossible had finished. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I get thousands of emails a week to fix restaurants. Why can't we do this show? Hence, Restaurant Impossible was created. Again, that started off as a 22-minute show, which was crazy because we had 48 hours, $10,000, which you described earlier. But we did 350 something episodes of that. And I can't say prior to COVID because the whole world shut down. But I will tell you, since COVID, we're about 96% success in those restaurants that have continued. The highest one in debt being 1.1 million.
That's incredible.
And
That's
now
an
does
incredible track
3.4
record.
million. Yeah. One
Wow.
Cerritos, California, now does 3 million, and one in New Hampshire, of a girl who's my dear friend now, but her and her husband hated each other. They were divorced, but locked into a restaurant with a debt of $350,000. Day two, I got there. It's called the Covered Bridge in New Hampshire. They were arguing. It was so bad.
Was that the
I
one by
just
the water mill? By the water? Like an old
yes,
flower? Yeah, I love that one.
yes.
Yeah, good episode.
So I said, one of you's got to go. He packed up his stuff. I said, well, look, here's what I want you to do. You write all the debt to her. She takes over the full debt. You're completely free of debt. And she said to me, I can't do that. I said, you're going to do that. I'm going to make sure that you're successful. And she agreed. I got it ratified by a lawyer.
You even offered to put
It
in
was
money,
real.
right? You even offered to put in your
Yeah,
own money to make sure she
yeah,
was successful.
yeah, yeah, I did. She's one of my closest friends to this day as we speak now. So here's what I saw in her. She was committed, hardworking, before. So when we did this deal and got it ratified, I said, don't worry about it. The TV show went on as you saw it. She went then to do 4 weeks at a local college to learn basic food prep. Then she did a 4 week stay, a nighttime job at a French fine dining restaurant to learn plating. And I was on the phone with her every day. Her name's Jen. She hired a chef, then fired a chef, then bought another chef. Then we went through COVID, right? She put in a grab and go. I talk to her every day. That's why I'm telling you the story. She just broke 3 million earlier on this year. And I talked to her every day and said I could never believe that I could do this. She got remarried. The restaurant is thriving beyond belief. She's like my star pupil. And
You
there's a
look
lot of them,
proud.
by the way, but
You look
she's my
proud.
favorite. Well, because she did. Look, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink.
Yeah.
And she drank the Kool-Aid, and I was with her, and I just like I promised her, I will be with you. And here we are. That was 10 years ago, and I talk to her every day, still to this day, and she's killing it. Yeah, it makes me very proud because when you see something, I
What
have
did
the
you see in
ability
her?
to see greatness,
Yeah.
right? When I can pick out that gene, as long as you're willing to work hard, everything else is easy. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about money. Money will always find you if you do the right things. And it has, and here we are. And that's every bit. And look, I have 13 companies, 7,500 people. I've got a sergeant who's running a clothing for the military right now, who lost his leg in Afghanistan, who was a 75th Ranger, who I've taught from shooting guns and blowing things up to running, a business. So for me, that's what inspires me every day is how do we make that difference, not only in those kids that have no hope, we can give them hope, but kids who don't believe in themselves, or adults that don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not always easy. Sometimes you got to be frustrated and you got to get it in the face and you got to, you got to make them believe.
You got to break them down to build them up, right? That's
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
your process, which I think is so important. Knowing restaurant owners, a lot of times it's the vanity project that when they open up the doors and they have no idea what they're doing. Because I'm in the hospitality business as well for 30 years, and so I get it. And what is there a something? Is there a way? Like, when you leave, do you find that most often they follow what you've trained them and taught them, or do they fall back into the old habits? And what is the number one mistake that you see most often with restaurant owners that you could put out there to help them reconsider before they do open a restaurant?
I think some people do go back. I'd be lying if I told you differently. When I set a menu in place, when I tell them, okay, you start adding more of your menu, whatever you like. This is how you cost it out. You know how to cost now. You know how to make the price now. You know how to purchase the food now. So what nine out of 10 times happens, they'll call me. I'm still in touch with all but one. They'll call me and say, I want to put this on the menu. What do you think? And I'm like, well, okay, what is it going to cost you? So I ask all the same things I ask on the show. They've done the homework. I'm like, okay, try it and see how the process. So I make them change the menu because, certain things will come into a rotation and then eventually it'll fall off because people don't want it anymore. You got to keep reinventing the wheel. So 9 out of 10 times they'll call me and say, hey, I'm thinking about putting this on, or they'll FaceTime me or Zoom me, whatever. Or I'll go and visit. I was just my world is literally, I just travel the world, but I get to go to all these places. I've done TV shows, so I get
Yeah.
to drop in unannounced and say, hey, I'm home.
Hello, I'm
I get
back.
to walk around and see what they've done. And,
That I
some of the
like.
things that I've seen, one I thought would never make it, and yet here we are 7 years later, thriving in Michigan. And I thought she would never make it, and she's killing it. So, there you go.
It's amazing. It's an amazing track record. So it's a testament to you. I love to hear that you still talk to everybody, because in 2 days, I always think, there's got to be more questions that they have, and I love that you care about them enough to keep. It almost sounds like you take
I don't
ownership.
think what I don't think people understand is, yes, there are 6 cameras, 48 hours, and you see this much of it. What you don't see is all the other things that I stay and go through, drilling my philosophies into them, then finding out about the personal stuff that's going on in their life that we can never show you. I've had rapes. I've had things that I don't even want to talk about. But the minute somebody tells me these things, I have an obligation to fix them. That means therapy. That means doctors. I mean, whatever that means. And I take that really seriously. I've never, from day one, I've had somebody that said, "Oh, you know, I cheated on my husband because he can't make me satisfied." And I'm like, "Well, you know, we can talk about that off air." And we talk about it, and then we reconcile it, and then we send him to a doctor. And so there are things that go on that the general public will never know.
Mm.
You know,
Respectful, very respectful.
I paid out my own pocket to send somebody to college because they couldn't afford to do it, and they were holding them hostage to work in a restaurant because they couldn't afford the help. So, and that's, again, that's my stuff, not what's there. But so the show is real life. It hits home to a lot of people for a lot of reasons, whether it be the food, the leadership, the decor, the stories of the families themselves. The show touches some part of somebody in the different part of the world that's going through the same kind of thing, because it's real. Real people, real problems, we give real solutions.
Okay, you're a real person too there, Chef. And what do this is a lot of energy that you put out into the world, and I'm sure you get a lot back from it. But what do you lose and what do you gain? And how do you take care of yourself to have this energy every day? Is there anything you've lost
Well,
or
number one, I never lose. I'm breathing every day. I wake up. Number two, I get the most out of the day when I go to the gym, because nobody can call me in the hour and a half I'm in the gym, not even my wife. That's my time. And unless you separate enough time for yourself, I don't think you're good to anybody. And the gym for me has always been that solace. And my wife, by the way, we work out side by side. She'll do her thing, I'll do my thing, but we don't communicate. It's the 1.5 hours that I have to clear my mind, no matter what I've got going on around the world, and I mean around the world. It's my gym time, whether it's leg day, arm day, whatever. You know, I have a training partner. It's my time. So that's what keeps me energized. And the fact that, again, I'll tell you what I said a minute ago. People won't believe me, but I jump out of bed every morning knowing that I'm going to change somebody's life. It may be in the gym. I had a guy scream when I walked in the gym this morning on a treadmill at the top of his voice, "Oh my God, Robert Irvine!" And I said, "Hey, buddy, how are you?" Got on a treadmill, two next to him, and I mean, the guy must have took 6,000 pictures and posted them, I don't know where, but, and then he came up to me afterwards and he said, "I'm so sorry I was so loud." I said, "It's all right, bro, no problem. It's all good. It's all good, you know." Then he asked me how to train arms. So I changed one person's thing today just because he saw me, but then I give him some tips on arm workout. So, you know, you have to be careful. When I first got married to Gail, who was a Hall of Fame wrestler, it was hard because she had her fan base, I had mine, and my fan base are anything from 2-year-old kids to 98-year-old women or granddads. They have no filter. They rush up in the middle of dinner. They'll, you know, wake you up on a plane. And my wife would get really mad because I travel literally. I just finished 6 weeks on the road, and I'll be sleeping and they'll wake you up, and she'll get really angry. I said, "It's okay. It's their first, you know, they see me and they want to touch and feel and talk." And I'm like, "Just let me wake up first." But I get it. I totally get it. You know, I was the same way with Adam Sandler when I saw him in a movie theater years and years ago. and Clint Eastwood and all these people that I had the opportunity to meet and greet along the way. I never woke him up, but I understand that. And when you sign up for TV, some people hit the TV, some people don't. I did, and the rest is history. And you have to take that into the equation of, well, you're transparent now. Your life somebody else's. So as long as you understand that,
yeah, and it
it's
fits
great.
into your life goal of touching somebody every day and inspiring.
Yeah,
And I gotta say, you've done that. You've got two people now. You mentioned the guy in the gym. You got me today. I'm inspired, and all the listeners that will hear this show with you, I'm sure you're going to touch them and inspire them as well. Let's take our next break. In the new book by Robert Irvine is Overcoming Impossible. Learn to lead, build a team, and catapult your business to success on Amazon.com or ChefIrvine.com. And Restaurant Impossible. Check it out. It's encore airing on Sundays at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Discovery Family. It's all available on Discovery Plus and Max. That's where I watch it. I stream it, and I don't have to watch any commercials. Just get all of my Restaurant Impossible shows in there. Robert Irvine, he's on a mission to save failing restaurants from total collapse. He and his team use all their ingenuity, elbow grease, and heart to give small business owners a fighting chance at turning their restaurants around. We'll be right back with Chef Robert Irvine.